I want to play like a rapid fire game of Snog, marry, and avoid, but with our current taxes, where marry would be perfect as is, Snog would be sort of the fiscal doer-upper, and then avoid is abolish it completely. Are you ready?
Oh, all right. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so income tax.
Snog.
National insurance contributions.
Avoid.
Ooh. VAT.
As currently constructed, snog, but basically marry.
Okay. Corporation tax.
Avoid.
Capital gains tax.
Put that in the snog.
Inheritance tax.
Avoid.
All the socialists and communists across the country are gasping right now. Stamp duties.
Avoid. For sure.
Council tax.
Snog.
Business rates.
Snog.
Fuel duty.
Snog again.
Tobacco, alcohol duties.
Snog.
Air passenger, vehicle excise duty, these type of things.
Snog as well.
And last one that we will do is environmental taxes.
Snog, because we need to acknowledge the cost of externalities.
You know what? If you said avoid there, I would be like, oh my god, that's greens out of the picture as well. Okay, well, the good news was I've really enjoyed this little game. The bad news is we have one tax that you class as marry. So out of all of the taxes that we have in the UK, you think that only one of them
a lot
has got a potential for marry.
Yeah, a lot of it is to do with how they're constructed, right? So VAT, economically speaking, taxing consumption is better than taxing work, labour, income. However, VAT, as it's currently constructed, is full of exemptions, zero rates, and this kind of thing, such that it means that the headline rate for everybody is quite high. So 20%. So if we had a system a bit more like that in New Zealand, where it was broad-based, close to no exemptions, you could have a much lower headline rate. You could run the numbers 10, 15%, but it certainly wouldn't be 20 because there wouldn't be any of these exemptions. The politics of that are, of course, really, really difficult because of the things that are zero rated and are exempt are things like children's clothing, baby food, I think. So you find a politician who wants to put a tax on children's clothing and baby food, I think you'd be very hard pressed. But it's sort of symptomatic of how we do taxes in Britain, which is lots of complications, lots of fiddles, lots of using the tax system as a political instrument to give favours to particular causes or particular interests, instead of having broad base and low rates and simple tax, a simple tax code, which is obviously more preferable. The tax system ought not to discriminate against somebody or a business based on how they earn their income or what business they engage in. As long as it's legal, then the tax system ought to be neutral in that regard. So, that should apply to consumption taxes too, from a purely economic perspective, but appreciate it's quite difficult. That's why, I'd say married to VAT. But certainly, when you look at some of the other taxes you mentioned, Kat, with environmental levies, fuel duty, things like that, it's probably economically correct. I think it's a bad phrase, but economically justifiable, should we say, to acknowledge the cost of externalities. So some sort of charge or tax, might be necessary from an economic perspective. But again, how these things are constructed, the rates that are applied, very complicated, very burdensome. And also, you go back to income tax. Over the years, I think I gave that a snog because, again, it's not broad base and low rates. It's very much the personal allowance has gone up so much over a number of given years, which is good news for those on lower incomes. But at the same time, it narrows out the tax base. It really thins out the tax base. So you're relying on a narrower set of people to actually pay taxes. So what does that mean? Then politicians think, what are we going to do? We're going to have to hold the 40% rate where it is. And then as earnings increase, we're going to capture more people into the 40% rate because we've taken so many people out of the bottom end. We're going to have to capture people on, middle incomes, really. So about nurses, teachers, these kinds of things, these kinds of professions that are being dragged into 40% rates. So that's why I was pretty much giving the sort of middle of the road snog across the board, because taxes are fine in at reasonable rates, at non-punitive rates to fund essential public services, but the way that they're constructed in Britain is suboptimal, shall we say. We've got a tax code that's somewhere around 25,000 pages, one of the most complicated in the world, and it causes lots of economic distortions.
If you enjoy this clip and you would like to support the show, all you have to do is press subscribe. And to watch the full conversation, you can go right here. I'll see you there.